Welcome, my fellow adventurers, to this week's episode of Fireside Chats. I am LP Bailey. Let's get right on into it. I want to take you back to a time when songs were not just background music. They were the very fabric of our homes, the heartbeat of our families. Now, we all have songs that have shaped us, the ones that played in the car or the kitchen or the garage, the ones that made us dream a little bit bigger. And for me, today, I want to share with you some of the songs and the sounds that shaped me. In our home growing up, every room had its own station. My dad spun Elvis and Kenny Rogers. There was something steady in their voices, like they were telling stories from the road, men who had seen life and carried it in every note. My mom filled the living room with Barry Manilow and Olivia Newton-John. Music that felt like sunlight. It was bright, it was hopeful, it was light, it was airy. And then there was my Uncle Mark and my Uncle Chris. I remember the shock the very first time they played for me Kiss Alive 2 and AC/DC's Back in Black. It was like somebody had thrown open the windows and a bolt of lightning came roaring in. The guitars, the volume, the drums, it was dangerous. It was a mix of just energy and raw power and enthusiasm and grit. It was the sound of permission to do something a little bit different. I didn't know it at the time, but these moments, this music was shaping me. My first toys weren't toys at all. They were piano keys and drumsticks. My father was a trumpet player. And when I got to middle school and then later on in high school, I played his trumpet. Several years later, I passed that trumpet down to my nephew. One horn, 3 generations. Somewhere in between, I found my first audience. Standing in a church choir loft, voice shaking, heart pounding, singing for something bigger than myself. And that's when I learned that music isn't about sound. It's service, it's commitment. It's a universal love language. All of my siblings had their own influences. My oldest sister, Colleen, loved Bad Company and Chicago. Now, Paul Rodgers of Bad Company, that guy's vocal range just blew me away. And the horn section and harmonies of Chicago was things that I had not previously been exposed to. As she got older, she fell in love with Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. And that's where I first heard groove and grace side by side with note and music. Rhythm as medicine. My brother Eric listened to the Beatles and Phish. And that's where I learned melody and improvisation. How a song could stretch and breathe and still hold together all simultaneously. And somewhere in between those sounds, a seed was planted. And then came the spark. For my birthday, my sister Colleen purchased me tickets to see INXS with Ziggy Marley as the opening act. And when Michael strutted onto stage, it was charisma like I had not experienced before. And he belted out notes, song after song after song, hit after hit. And INXS Kick became a cassette of mine that I would listen to again and again and again until the tape wore thin and I had to replace it. A friend of mine in high school handed me a Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction cassette. Got home, I plugged it in, I hit play, and the opening lick to Welcome to the Jungle was like nothing I had ever heard before. That first riff, the rawness of it, it was rebellion and freedom and heartbeat all at once. And suddenly, I no longer was a listener. I wanted to play. I wanted to play drums. I wanted to play guitar. I want to play bass. I want to sing. I want to run. I want to jump. I want to be all over the stage. I want you to know what it felt like to share that level of expression with an audience. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and completely alive. My sister sealed it with those tickets to see INXS. That night was an awakening. The energy, the lights, the pulse of thousands of people singing along. I walked out different. I left that concert different than the person I was when I went in that night. I didn't have the words for it then, but I knew this. Music was going to be my language for the rest of my existence. Looking back, every one of those artists, every one of those moments was a teacher. Elvis taught me charisma. Let's pause here for a second to acknowledge that Elvis had more charisma in his entire existence than I have in my single pinky. The other way around, right? Elvis had more charisma in his pinky than I will have in my entire existence. But Elvis taught me charisma. Kenny taught me storytelling, which went beautifully with my Irish storytelling heritage. Marley and Tosh taught me soul and rhythm. INXS taught me stage presence. And Phish taught me freedom, the ability to improvise within a song. All of them together taught me gratitude. That music is not about perfection. It's about connection. Those songs shaped the sound that I make today, but also my very sense of self. They're the reason I picked up an instrument. They're the reason I sing. They're the reason I constantly am chasing melody. I carry all of them with me every single day. They are a mixtape for my soul. Those are the sounds that shaped me. What about you? Which album, which cassette, which CD, which first download changed the way that you view the world? Struck a chord in your heart unlike any music you had heard before? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear your story. This Wednesday, I'm going to be in the recording studio working on a couple of new originals. So this week's episode of Let's Make Music is going to be a little bit different than the ones that have come before. I'm not entirely sure the shape or sound that it'll take, but I will be thrilled if you will join me back here on this channel Wednesday as I'm in the studio recording new originals. Let's Make Music on Wednesday. Between now and then, it is a great day to have a great day. Adventurers, I'll see you again soon.